Hey everybody, welcome back to Thicker Liquor. My name is John, and today we are with Lucy and my good friend Dan, and we are ready to try Johnny Drum and all the stories behind the drummer boy. Let's get into it. Alright everybody, thanks again for checking out the video. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. And thanks Danny for sitting here, and we're going to try Johnny Drum.
My pleasure, John.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Anish. This was a Anish pick. He has, in Schaumburg, he has, what is that place called? Golf Liquors in Schaumburg. Thank you Anish, this was his pick. He said it's a really hard to find, and he's got bottles there. He's got a pretty cool store with some pretty rare bourbons, and we did our bourbon hunt over there. And this is what we came home with, Johnny Drum. So I looked at it a little bit, and there's a couple folklores about Johnny Drum. Apparently he was going from like regiment to regiment trying to sign up for the Civil War. What are they calling this one?
Enlist. On the label here they call it the Confederate War.
And apparently at some point somebody finally brought him in, but as their drummer boy.
Yeah, drummer boy. Supposedly in 1861 he finally enlisted.
Yeah, and the war would have went on for a handful more years after that. So
yeah, till 1865 he survived, and after the war he got some land in Kentucky and started making bourbon.
That's the Johnny Drum story. So now let me tell you the truth about what's going on today. First of all, super cool label, very antique looking, private stock, 101 proof. It's cracking open a new bottle, so my very limited review on it is that it's going to have a little heat, and then it's got a lot of caramely and a lot of sweet stuff, and that's good because I'm kind of waiting for some good bourbon. I haven't had any in a little bit, so we're ready to go. Yeah,
it's not non-age stated bourbon, private stock, and company is owned by Willett, but they don't necessarily distill it themselves.
Yeah,
the source is a bit of a mystery.
Mm-hmm. The funny thing, they source it. We don't know, right? Somebody said that they believe that it has to do with Heaven Hill.
That's the rumor. Heaven Hill is involved.
Because they're close by or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that distillery is close by, and they work with Willett. And so and it's funny on the bottle that it says that the taste and the flavor, the notes, whatever, they never vary.
They never vary, and yet small batch must vary from batch to batch. Absolutely,
it has to do it. So I'm excited to try it. You ready to do this? Let's crack this bottle open. Mm-hmm. Never varies. The superb sour mash. So it is a sour mash. So it's not. They use the prior batch to do it. But that's not right. If they're being sourced, we don't know. Does anybody tell us what the real story behind Johnny Drum is? Because a lot of things just don't seem to add up.
Well, let's see what it tastes like.
It is the Johnny Drum Distilling Company.
Yeah.
But they're not the ones distilling this.
Not necessarily. No one really knows.
Oh, did you hear that? That was crazy. Mm-hmm. Let's see what we have. I've been excited about for like a week that I've had this. Thanks again, Anish. Super cool dude. And he was so excited that I was doing the review on his shop that he busted out and gave me this stainless steel Grey Goose. And so I asked him what was kind of a rare thing, and he said Johnny Drum. You won't see it too often. So I was just like, all right, let's give it a try. Right, so cheers to that. 101 proof.
Yeah.
You know, they said that you were going to get a huge alcohol blast out of it. I'm not really getting that.
I'm not so far.
I'm going to put a little bit more in my glass. See if that changes things. I mean, it's kind of caramelly to the nose. You know, I gotta tell you, for 101 proof, it doesn't have the burn that 101
proof.
Right,
it's not overwhelming.
No, kind of like a.
There's some heat there.
There's a little heat, but it's not killing me. It's not burning my eyes.
I'm feeling it more in my nasal cavity.
Like a burnt vanilla. Like if you drop some vanilla in a frying pan or something, or like you know, that first early on when you start baking, the house starts to fill in with that, those sugars and stuff.
Let's taste it.
Like a toffee or something. That's what I was kind of smelling, some toffee. I'm going in.
There is some heat there, but it's not overwhelming.
No.
It's got a warm finish.
Oh yeah, that heat, man. I mean, it's tingly all over.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's get to the taste. I do get a little bit of like a tobacco, caramely,
like most bourbon.
Yeah, one of like the natural sugars that come out, the vanilla flavors and stuff. Totally getting all of those. This is a $38 bottle. That's what I paid over there in Anish's store in Schaumburg, Illinois. Wow, that second sip is very flavorful. Really, really good. There's a lot going on there. How dark this is, too. This is super dark. It's a good value. I mean, in terms of value, if you want a hot...
It is kind of rich. You know, there's like a lot going on there. I don't know. I can't really separate stuff out and describe it, but...
My experience is, as you kind of sip through these things, every once in a while you're able to pull out another little flavor out of it. Like, oh, there's a little like nutmeg in there or something like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm getting like a coffee... like a coffee, tobacco-y, caramely combination for me. The finish to me is dark chocolate on the palate. Like I ate a dark chocolate Hershey bar a half hour ago or something. I'm getting chocolate. This thing would be terrific on ice. And I love it just like this.
Yeah, it's stinging my tongue right now.
Yeah, it's a stinger. That's the first thing I noticed. It stings and it sticks around. The peppery part of it.
Yeah, it's a long peppery finish.
Yeah. If you like that, that's good. You know, then you're kind of savoring that for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
my mouth's still like trying to figure out what happened there.
Yeah, this is good for sipping.
It's kind of what I'm getting. I walked into a nice humidor and I had a piece of chocolate that I finished 10 minutes ago. Puts me in that mindset. So there's no story. The Johnny Drum is just like it's just a story. It's just something to sell, I believe. I mean, I don't know if there was no real dude, Johnny Drum.
I don't know.
I think it sounds it sounds made up. Like then he came back from the war and then he had a excess corn. He had a bunch of excess corn that he didn't know what to do with.
Didn't want it to waste.
He didn't want it to go to waste, so he made a batch of whiskey and whatever it is, and he drummed away for a while. What, did he join a band? I tell you what though, it's a cool story. It's a cool looking bottle, and I think $38. You're getting your value. It's 101 proof.
Yeah, definitely good for the money.
It does remind me a little bit of that Rebel 100. A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Caramely, but I don't remember the Rebel having this long-lasting. I think my tongue's just slowly getting over the heat right now. There's still some residual kicking back and forth. If you want to get into higher-end bourbon, 100 plus proof, with some good character, I think this one is it too. And you got a story about Johnny the Drummer Boy.
Johnny Drum.
Every drop charcoal filtered. Isn't that how they make Tennessee?
That is a step in the process for Tennessee whiskey.
That's exactly. So it's interesting that they throw that in. I don't think bourbon is charcoal filtered. They don't charcoal filter bourbon.
I don't think that's a requirement.
No.
Bourbon.
Is that frowned upon in the bourbon world? You guys tell me in the comments what's going on with that. See, handmade bourbon from Kentucky. But then it's sour mash, and then it's sourced.
And it's charcoal filtered.
And it's charcoal filtered, which I believe is the Tennessee whiskey recipe. Johnny Drum was left-handed. All kinds of things are going on that we don't even know. All right, and what kind of drum? Did he not play the cymbals? Was it just one drum? And did he release an album or something? Anything? Wait, drum roll.
Smooth finish and lingers a bit.
The tingling, the tongue tingler is
slowly creeps up in the finish there.
Man, I really like it.
As they say, hugs the tongue.
Yeah, I really like it. Okay, so now we're gonna go. We're gonna start off. We have a new grading system that I've been trying to implement here. 10 being like write home to your mom about it, and 1 like don't ever admit that you ever bought that one. And it is small batch, private stock. So what on your 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, supposedly, if you want to give something a 0.
On the taste, I'm gonna give it a 7 of 10.
Okay.
Not my favorite. The high proof, I prefer something a little lower, along the 90, 95, 95. But the heat wasn't overwhelming, and it does have interesting flavors. And on the price point, it's worth $38. I'd say
being 100 proof bourbon too.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not paying $38 for a light proof bourbon. You're going to get your money's worth if you're mixing drinks with it, as well as whatever. So
yeah, it's good for sipping too.
For me, on the overall taste profile, I really enjoy it. I'm kind of beginning to lean towards the higher proof bourbons. And like my sweet spot now is more like in the 94 to 95 range. I'm kind of like digging some of those higher end ones. So on the taste itself and everything that comes with that, I would give it a 7.7. Is that a thing? 7 point is a thing. A 7. I want to really say 7.5, but a good solid 7.5, and that's
darn near 8.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe not an 8.
Okay.
Because maybe if they flatten out that tingly a little bit, maybe I'd give that an 8. If you like the peppery, this is really good because it's like peppery and the sweet. And I think for the overall value, I would, being that it's kind of a no name and all that kind of stuff, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10 on the value, meaning that 5 is like average value. I would say it's 6 out of 10 on the value. I wouldn't go too crazy with it because 100 proof, that's pretty good. And $38 is not crazy. I would think maybe the circumstances and economy and everything else, maybe the prices are a little jacked up right now. But I would say the sweet spot for this would be at like the $32 spot. Yeah. That would jack that up to a 9 in value if it was $32.
Well, if you can find it, look for anything under close around 32 would be well worth your money. A steal. Well worth your money.
And let me know if this is hard to find for anybody and where you guys are at. I know people do the bourbon hunting and the liquor hunting out there, so exciting. I'm cool with that. And again, thanks again, Dan. I hope you enjoyed little Johnny Drum.
As always, Johnny.
Very good. And take care of yourselves out there. Be safe. Look out for each other. And I'll catch you next time. Thicker Liquor.
Go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway.